Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gem City Gridiron Roundup podcast. As always, I am your host, Macaulay Calkin. No, Zach today. It's just me. First on the tap. First out of the tap. San Francisco 49ers take down the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night. It was a lot of points scored by the 49ers. Score was decently close. Brock Purdy had a nice day, 18 for 28, 255, and three touchdowns. Jordan Mason goes down with a knee injury. Doesn't appear to be anything too serious. Isaac Garando, whatever, has the long touchdown run, or not touchdown run, but the long run. Um, which I believe followed Kyle's use check run into the end zone. The Seattle Seahawks, the offense kind of had a little bit of a struggle getting going. Geno Smith with the two picks. Kenneth Walker falls in the end zone and he gets 8 catches, which is huge. Even though he didn't have that many yards, he did have a very fantastic day. DK Metcalf with 11 targets and Jackson Smith and Jigbo with 9. I didn't really watch much of this game, but it looks like Geno had a rough time getting things going with his weapons. Let's see. The first game I watched on Sunday, which was, of course, the London game. Chicago 35, Jacksonville 16. The Jaguar season is over, much like my fantasy season. Uh, the Bears just dominated wire to wire. Uh, Three different receivers dropped a touchdown pass from Trevor Lawrence. So that was pretty rough. Evan Ingram with the big day. Gabe Davis scores 2 touchdowns. Brian Thomas dropped a touchdown. Christian Kirk dropped a touchdown. Gabe Davis dropped another touchdown. It was just they were not firing on all season, all cylinders. We'll see if they're any better next week. I do believe they are staying in England, London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, in order to participate in next week's London game. Caleb Williams had a really nice day. He scrambled all over the place. I don't think that his offensive line is all that great, so he had to do a lot of work. DeAndre Swift is, as long as he's healthy, a bona fide must start. Cole Kmet with the 2 touchdowns. It's pretty wild that all of a sudden he's showing his talent now that somebody can get him the ball. Moving on. The next game I watched was a Arizona versus Green Bay in the rain blowout. All the games on Sunday were blowouts, including the Dodgers. The Dodgers game was a blowout, but the Mets came back today to tie it up. Jordan Love's first good game coming off of injury. He was very, very efficient. Does get the 4 touchdown passes, 2 of them to Romeo Dobbs, who was kicked off the team for a week. So that was really interesting. At the beginning of the game, it was the Jaden Reed show. He does score the touchdown, and then he kind of disappeared. Very low yard total for that guy. Uh, Saw a little bit of a resurgence of Christian Watson, but just everybody got into the end zone. Excuse me. Tucker Kraft really slowed down this week. I heard a lot of talk about him leading up to Sunday's matchups from all of the pundits, but he did not really do much. Emmanuel Wilson, another day of being very efficient on the ground. However, as long as Josh Jacobs exists, I don't think that Emmanuel Wilson will really matter. I think most of his touches actually came in garbage time because I don't remember seeing much of him before I turned it off because it was a huge blowout. The Cardinals, meh. James Conner looked like he was going to have a pretty good day at the beginning. Um, like first couple drives, he was doing all right. Excuse me. Cardinals decided that they were going to play all three running backs and kind of give them even split. Trey Benson did not have any targets. I don't actually know if there was an injury designation for James Conner, or if it was just game script. Trey McBride was open a lot. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. does go down with the concussion early on in this game. He did have two targets, but did nothing with them. So that's another shot across the bow at fantasy owners, fantasy managers. And the final game of the day that I watched, I turned off in the third quarter, was Cowboys Lions. Dear God, it could have been worse. Um, I don't really have an explanation for what was going on there. Dak threw two picks. Maybe it's that they can't get anything going on the run in the run game. Uh, Detroit decided to just try to take away CeeDee Lamb. He still goes 7 catches on 14 targets for 89 yards. The Cowboys scored zero touchdowns. I think Dak had like a 3 point game in fantasy, which is just atrocious. Um, yeah, really bad. Turpin fumbles. Oh, home run, Giancarlo Stanton, 5-1 Yankees. But yeah, Cowboys offense looked terrible. The running backs did nothing. Hendon Hooker actually does come in the game for the Lions at the very end. I didn't watch any of that. Jahmyr Gibbs, no touchdowns, but he did have a really nice day. Excuse me. David Montgomery finds the end zone twice. Monroe St. Brown gets the touchdown in garbage time to save his day. And Laporta scores what I believe to be his very first touchdown of the season. Yes. And that was actually his only catch. It was a really nice double reverse flea flicker play. Atlanta takes down the Carolina Panthers. It was a Andy Dalton game once again. He does find Deontay Johnson quite a few times. Looks like those dudes have a real good um, link. And you have Chuba Hubbard, once again, very efficient on the ground. It'll be very interesting to see when his running back mate comes back, how that all fleshes out. Jatavion Sanders uh, somehow ended up with 12 points. I don't really get how that happened. Maybe he had a 2 point conversion. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, um, Xavier Leggett does find the end zone as well. Look for him to be a little bit better going forward. I don't think Deontay Johnson is going to take the Adam Thielen role by any means. Jonathan Brooks coming back is going to be very interesting. That is the name I was searching for before. Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson both had great, great days on the ground. Drake London gets targeted out the wazoo. Kyle Pitts with a salvageable day, 3 for 70. This is like kind of the Falcons offense we were all expecting. Uh, it just shocks me every time Algier just continues to be good. It doesn't make any sense. Los Angeles Chargers take down the Denver Broncos. The Broncos did try to come back in this one late. Bo Nix started off absolutely horrendously and then was able to turn it around in the second half. He does throw two touchdowns, one to Troy Franklin and one to Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton had another really big catch where he was streaking through the center of the field, but that one did get called back, so that was really unfortunate. Javante Williams really didn't do much. Audric Estime does come off the IR, but is not very productive either. Dobbins finds the end zone, had a very nice day. Kamani Vidal on his very first reception touch of any kind as a pro does score a touchdown. A really beautiful arching pass from Justin Herbert over the corner of the line or over the shoulder of the linebacker. And I think Lad McConkey might have got injured in this game. 4 for 43 on 8 targets. I think he came back. I don't 100% remember. I wasn't paying attention to that game very much. No, John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. Anyway, the Chargers head coach, Jim Harbaugh, left this game for a little, or went into the blue tent during this game for a heart murmur, I believe. He did come back and finish out the game. Tampa Bay, powered by the Hurricane, drops 51 on the Saints, which is just absolutely impressive. Um, they were just doing whatever they wanted. Although uh, Baker did kind of have a Jameis day because it was 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. It just didn't matter. Sean Tucker, out of nowhere, just goes off. 2 touchdowns, one through the air, one on the ground. Almost 200 yards between receiving and rushing. It was a big Chris Godwin game, who does have 13 targets in this one. Kamara finds a touchdown to salvage his day. Spencer Rattler didn't look all that awful, even though he had 2 picks. The Saints offense is obviously neutered without Derek Carr. It's just the way it is. I really didn't see any highlights from this one whatsoever. Houston takes out the New England Patriots, who do start Drake May for the first time of the season. He also has 2 interceptions. Demario Douglas with a nice day. There was a really nice throw to Kayshon Boutte, which ended up being a touchdown, so that was cool. Joe Mixon was extremely efficient. I think he just returned from injury. Dameon Pierce also gets some work in this game with the touchdown. Joe Mixon had 2 touchdowns, which is excellent to see. Work was pretty evenly split between Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs did have uh, one more fantasy point exactly in this matchup. Sunday night, the Cincinnati Bengals take down the New York Giants. Both teams now are at 2-4. I'm kind of glad I didn't watch this game. It didn't look like anything happened. There was a 47-yard Joe Burrow rush. That was probably worth watching. Chase Brown does find the end zone. His final line ends up being like 14.4 points. Uh, he probably has supplanted Zach Moss at this point, who really didn't do too much, although both of them did come in with an injury designation into this game. So it'll be really interesting to see where that stands as of now. Tyrone Tracy with a nice day. Wan'Dale Robinson was a little bit disappointing. Darius Slayton, pretty much the exact same line, like 2 more points almost. But Tyrone Tracy was the joint leader receiver in this one. Indianapolis takes down Tennessee. It was a Josh Downs game, which was cool. Tony Pollard finds the end zone. That dude's a beast out of not thin air, but he's just really getting a lot of work. He doesn't have that many miles on him, so that's cool. For Titans fans, are there such a thing? Not sure. DeAndre Hopkins didn't didn't cross my mind that he was Tennessee. I don't know why, but he had the nice day. Calvin Ridley had 8 targets but 0 catches. Looks like Will Levis could not find him whatsoever. He has under 100 passing yards, which was not exceptional. Joe Flacco ball does it again. Tyler Goodson ends up being the running back that you want. Michael Pittman finds the end zone. He is playing through a big back injury, um, which is a huge deal. Eagles take down the Browns. Some drama with Nick Sirianni and the Eagles fans, I believe. Yeah, because it was in Philadelphia. Uh, Deshaun Watson doesn't really do much, which has been the case all season long. They cannot wait for Nick Chubb to come back. Amari Cooper, six more targets, does nothing with it. On the flip side, AJ Brown with a monster day, six catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Smith also finds the end zone in his return back from injury. The Eagles did have a bye week last week. Pittsburgh takes down the Raiders in the 2 o'clock slate. It was a Justin Fields show. He scored two touchdowns on the ground. They were very effective in the red zone using a bunch of packages with Justin Fields. Najee Harris breaks off a really big run for a touchdown. And he's just looking really good this year, which has turned Jalen Warren into useless, which is not the greatest. Aiden O'Connell loses another game. It was Alexander Madison's time to shine as there was no Zamir White in this game either, and he didn't do a whole lot. Brock Bowers is who you want in the Raiders offense. Washington and Baltimore, 30-23. Baltimore. This game was very back and forth. It was worth the price of admission. Derrick Henry finds the end zone two times. The dude is just an animal. The Ravens are averaging like 170 yards rushing per game as a team, which is just ridiculous. Zay Flowers is now a wide receiver one. You'd like him to find the end zone a little bit more. Lamar does throw for 300 passing yards, which is just unheard of for him. There was a lot spread all over the place, but most of it went to Zay Flowers, who was 9 for 9, so that's cool. Terry McLaurin finds the end zone twice. There was one pass that he caught in the back corner of the end zone, which was really cool. Kind of mossed his man. And that covers it for the IRL football right now. Currently, Aaron Rodgers is at the 50-yard line with 8 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the third quarter. It is 20-17 Buffalo. Motions Tyler Conklin across the formation. This is a play action read up the gut, Brees Hall, 3 yards. The Yankees are trying not to choke away a 5-1 lead right now against the Guardians. Now 5-2, top of the eighth, two on, one out. Let's get to the matchups that mattered. First things first, I lost embarrassingly to Brinkman, who dropped like 170 points in the 11 o'clock window, which was just absolutely ridiculous. I had no shot whatsoever. It wouldn't have mattered had I started a perfect lineup. It just did not matter. I just ran into a damn buzzsaw, is what happened. Followed up by Gage, who wins by 18 points. That one is all the way over. Jerome Ford gets knocked out of this one, looks like, with a hamstring injury. I don't know when Nick Chubb's slated to return, but he has his practice window has opened. Jane Daniels has turned into an absolute stud. Must start every week. Looks like Brees Hall has 92 rushing yards and 137 total yards in this game, so that's really big for him. All right. So that brings Gage up to 5-1. And all the way 80 deuce 1P down to 3-3. Blaster takes out Fuller. Fuller drops to 1-5. Blaster goes to 3-3. That was a big, big day from DeAndre Swift, Bijan Robinson, and Jordan Love. Chris Olave also picks up an injury in this game, which I did not realize. Concussion, non-participant in practice. Yikes, that's something to monitor. Everybody on his team basically scored uh, double digits, so that's a winning formula. Zach holding on by the skin of his teeth. I actually almost outscored him. Heath only scored 79 points. Heath falls to 1-5. He had an absolutely atrocious day from all of his team, and Zach just barely squeaked to 5-1. Luke also goes to 5-1, outscoring Drew 162 to 146. This one is not over, but it basically is. Josh Allen would need like 20 more points, which is not going to happen against Rajay Davis, or Ray Davis, excuse me, who I just dropped, unfortunately. He does pick up the start as James Cook was out, a late scratch, and that'll be enough to get the job done. It would have been a lot tighter without Ray Davis. And Cody Sackett moves to 4-2, getting over Stuart Brinkman, who falls to 4-2 as well. That was a very low scoring affair as well, 132 to 79. Of course, Breece Hall still has a chance to score more points for Cody. And the standings are as follows. Once more, I fall to 0-6. My season is over, like I said last week. So that's really unfortunate. I do still have a shot at coming all the way back, although it's going to be really hard. It's the haves and the have-nots. There are going to be 2 1-5 teams, 1 0-6 team. Uh, so yeah, pretty horrible. Dark Horse does move to 2-4 after beating me. He is the highest scoring team of the week, and it's not even close. Very unfortunate. There will be a lot of juicy free agents this week, so that's pretty big. For the teams that are way down there, which I am one of them. All right. This is a bit of a quicker one, uh, as Zach was not able to join me. Um, so yeah, I'll go ahead and send this over to him, and this was an episode.